Good morning. It's March the 9th, and this is the start of the regular council meeting for the Township of Frontenac Islands. We begin in this gathering by acknowledging and celebrating these traditional lands as a gathering place for the First Peoples and their ancestors who are entrusted to care for Mother Earth since time immemorial. We do so respecting both the land and the Indigenous people who continue to walk with us through this world. Today, the Township of Frontenac Island is committed to working with Indigenous peoples and all residents to pursue a united path of reconciliation. If any declaration of pecuniary interest and general nature there are. Seeing none, I'm proposing that there be an addition made to our existing agenda to add a closed session regarding Section 239, bracket 2B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Is there a seconder for that? Seeing none, then we won't have a closed session today. Now we'll move to the consent agenda. We have the adoption and receipt of minutes of February the 9th of 2026, as well as February 23rd, the special meeting minutes.
Moved by Councillor Jablonski, seconded by Councillor Ackley, that the February 9th, 2026 council meeting minutes be adopted as presented or amended, and that the February 23rd, 2026 special public meeting minutes be adopted as presented / amended, and that the information items be received and filed.
Okay. Any discussion on these? Councillor Jablonski?
Nope.
Councillor Halton?
No, thank you.
Councillor Saunders?
Thank you. Nope.
Councillor Ackley?
Nothing.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're at staff reports. We have the CAO report, 2026.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Please bear with us while Angelique gets the PowerPoint up on the. Just go through and then it comes out, we can go through the PowerPoint. We did a slideshow. It's coming, it's just. There we go. Perfect, thank you. Keep on more down the slide. As you can see, the first quarter consisted of multiple meetings and project kickoffs from January through to including this month, including ferry closures, stakeholder engagements, work plan sessions, and public and stakeholder meetings scheduled that did take place in February and are more to be scheduled in March. Next slide, please. The Office of the CAO Clerk, staff have been focusing on election planning, website launch, the township newsletter that goes into the tax inserts, and the accessibility plan. Next slide, please. As many of you know, unfortunately, our treasurer has resigned. It's effective this Friday. Staff have advertised for replacement of the township website, Facebook, AMCTO, and MFOA. The posting does close on March the 27th. For human resources and legal services, as I just touched on, the resignation for the treasurer, the employee pay grid, the letter and employment contracts have been distributed. They closed last Friday. Legal review of the employment contracts and training on election procedures, email management, and cybersecurity. Through communications, several media releases, website updates, and social media activity has occurred in this first quarter. We now have 454 Facebook followers for the township. We have 520, if you want to go to the next page, sorry. Oh, no, I guess not, sorry about that. 520 for the ferry, and email subscribers. Top Facebook posts were ferry updates and the new building at Big Sandy Bay. So a few Facebook statistics for us just January to March 4th of this year. So a lot of views for the township 3-car ferry. There was 17,320 views, and then the new building at Big Sandy Bay, there was 12,224 views. Finance, Jesse's been very busy. We got the 2026 budget approved. The interim audit has been completed. Tenders have been issued for the surface treatment and gravel supply. Those both close on March the 19th. Thanks to Jesse for submitting the final report for our Big Sandy Bay grant. We have been awarded the $100,000 for the attendant building, as well as we received confirmation that we will be awarded the pothole repair grant in the amount of $38,000. Howe Island Fire and Rescue Emergency Services, they've been progressing with the mandatory training, response planning, and certification that is due July 1st of this year. Wolf Island Fire and Rescue, they have been focusing on medical training, contingency planning, and fundraising events. Both departments have been preparing for ferry shutdowns and utilizing training opportunities. The ferry services for the Howe Island 3-car ferry, as you'll see later in this council agenda, that our fire chief has submitted an update, but the contingency plans for the Howe Island 3-car ferry during county ferry shutdown has been arranged. We do have an annual water inspection scheduled this month. Ferry gates, we've been researching the replacement for the ferry gates, as well as dealing with the heavy ice conditions, which may impact the spring ferry crossings. Just some more information for you, just kind of indicating that our little 3-car ferry for the township was very busy in 2025 with 54,023 total trips for the year. This data here is a comparison from 2023 to 2025. This data that staff submit to MTO on a monthly basis, and it's submitted for both Howe and Simcoe Island ferries. The Howe Island Public Works, ongoing winter snow and ice removal, salt stocks have been monitored. Roadwork tenders finalized, safety repairs at the municipal office, and they have been busy with ice removal and ferry maintenance. Simcoe Island Ferry is operational as well. How Island Public Works, this is just a touch on recreation, what we're getting ready to do, and the garbage, curbside garbage and recycling continues. As everyone knows, we switched over in January of this year for the curbside recycling, and any feedback that we've received seems to be going well. The Wolf Island Public Works staff have been busy over the winter months with winter operations, and now that spring is coming in, they've been out with a grader to address potholes. As well, staff will be setting a routine maintenance day for oil changes, etc., for the Simcoe Island Ferry. Once this day has been set, staff will post notice on the constant contact when that regular ferry maintenance day is. Finally, building services and bylaw enforcement. To date, for the first quarter, 7 building permits have been issued with a construction value of $476,340, and enforcement is ongoing for the zoning and building code bylaw violations. And if any member of council has any questions, I would be happy to ask.
Okay. Any questions, Councilor Devonaghy?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. No, brief report, Vanessa, thank you much, no questions.
Councilor Holton?
No question, thank you very much.
Okay, Councilor Saunders?
Madam Mayor, just a big thank you to all the staff who put these results together. The others I want to, I guess, want to personally thank Chief Hawkins for his continued efforts to build the first aid complement and skills of the Wolf Island firefighters, as I ask you every year. So thank you very much.
Councilor Ackley?
No, great job, our team's doing all well.
Okay. I have a question that, for Chief Hawkins and that regarding the mandatory certification for July 1st.
Yeah, between Mike and I, we're through Madam Mayor, we're working on this. The fire marshal was a little slow on stuff. So they're probably 6 weeks to 2 months behind, so. We are working on it and going forward and looking at that, so I don't think everything should go pretty smooth. For
Okay.
that. And hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have it certified.
So there's no penalty or anything that
No.
we're anticipating, okay? And the volunteers have been welcoming.
Oh, yeah, the new ones that we have, they're eager to even train more for first aid.
Good, good. On the big sandy bay and that, it's nice that we have not found $100,000. We spent $100,000 and we're just getting reimbursed in that, but does that mean that we're finally gonna have it open and working toilets?
Yeah, so through you, Madam Mayor, the building is open. Again, the primary purpose is just an attendant building for the staff. But it does have a fully accessible washroom that will be available. We're still, again, just for capacity constraints and all that, we'll still have the other ones that we have there. So those will still operate and run. But it is, yeah, all working. I think the inside could, still be spruced up and decorated and furnished. But for the purposes of the grant, it's all done. And yeah, you are correct to say this isn't new revenue or anything. We recorded this revenue back when I started back in 2023. But it's finally in our bank account, so it's always a good sign.
Okay, and so with that, are we also getting a grant for having somebody out there this year?
Through the
Staff.
Madam Mayor, we have applied as
Yeah,
usual
okay.
for our summer students, correct?
And so they would be stationed still at the little booth out front by the gate?
My understanding, and Jesse, you can correct me if I'm wrong, through you, Madam Mayor, the intention is that the summer staff would now be located at the new building.
Yeah, so through matter, we have both options, so we're not taking down that front gate. I think logistically, there might be something still to be figured out before the season starts, speaking honestly. But this building does have like a window, because I guess for context, the purpose of the grant, it was a COVID grant, and it was to provide, safe distancing and the ability to serve public, so some of that was the thinking back then. So we're definitely prepared if another pandemic pops up, but logistically, I think it's still decided if that's gonna be the primary function, but definitely accessible washroom and its storage space and we keep things. Also a place, a bigger room for the students, their lunch breaks and stuff that can all be utilized, so. I think there's kind of, you know, some directions and some thinking that we can do just when we start the season.
Okay. Look forward, maybe we can have a ribbon cutting or something to welcome it on to the resources now. Regarding the meetings that you've been going to and that with MTO and that to the CAO clerk. We have a plethora of ferries that lots of people are wanting more detailed information, and while I appreciate the role that comms is for getting anything out of MTO, is there anything that can be shared at this point in time?
Through you, Madam Mayor, with respect to our monthly meetings for MTO they are our touch point meetings. We speak, both, and the county sits on them as well. There's nothing to be shared right now at this point, other than what MTO has already submitted out. The last communication was, I believe, from Franca Sacchetti 2 weeks ago now.
They seem to have made no mention of the amount of staff that they're sending up to Georgian Bay for training.
No, they've not touched on that.
And yet other ferry operators know that information, and I think that would be very keen to be aware of, since there's been shutdowns in the summertime especially, and even now with Howe Island. And that for lack of staffing.
We do have a meeting on Wednesday, so I can certainly follow up with them.
Okay. And ask them if it's their intent to actually run 2 ferries on it for Wolf Island in the summertime. Get it on record, since we seem to have lots of ferry and they seem to be training staff. Okay,
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
thank you. Okay.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councillor Holton, that the CAO update report 2026-02 from Vance Latimer, CAO clerk, regarding first quarter update be received.
Any further questions? All those in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have an administration report, AD 008-26, election sign bylaws.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The report is before council this morning. If anyone has any questions specific with regards to this, it is a staff are proposing an election sign bylaw, just clearly outlining where with respect to the upcoming election, but going forward as well, where election signs can be placed in the community.
Okay, any questions, Councillor Jablonski?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This doesn't seem to have changed from the first 4 years, I think, 4 years ago. Same thing, basically, keep on missing properties, clean it after you're done. No, there's no fulfillment questions.
Yeah, Councillor Holton,
No questions, thank you.
Councillor Saunders,
So maybe,
Councillor Ackford.
Yeah, the only thing I thought I saw here, is that, signs on township property. I assume municipal roads. I thought I saw. I said, oh. Sign shall not be placed on grounds owned or occupied by. Yeah, it says here under private property. Signs shall not be placed on properties owned and occupied by municipality unless and expressed authorized. Well, last year we had them in the turnaround from Mark Garrettson. And I asked the question, how can he put that giant sign right there in our public property? And it bugged me.
Sorry, through you, Madam Mayor. So this addresses everything going forward. When we had spoke to that, it was my understanding, and when I looked, I couldn't find anything to address both provincially and federally regulated, or like provincial or election signs. So going forward, this would address it. So if they wanted to place a federal or provincial election sign on municipal property, they would have to get council permission to do so.
So
Once
technically it was infraction last time.
No, because we didn't have anything in place.
Oh, we didn't have it, but we got it now.
Well, once it gets passed, yes.
Wonderful.
Right,
Can everybody-
but there's still a tolerance for along the roadways.
Yeah.
And that,
What it is.
that's in here too, and that, for the size of the signage and that, I was thinking of. And I think you eliminated any electronic or banner or anything of that
Yeah.
nature,
Yes.
okay, and that, let's see. How that works out. Okay, any further questions?
Moved by Councillor Ackley, second by Councillor Jablonski, that council received administration report number AD 008-26 regarding an election sign bylaw. And that the bylaw be presented to council for all 3 readings.
Any further discussion? Those in favor? Carried. Okay, and then we have administration report number AD 009-26, use of municipal resource policy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, the report is before council. If you have any specific questions, I would be pleased to answer them. But essentially what this does is it lays out more specifically for the current council going forward, what they can and cannot use any kind of municipal resources for. So while it does not impede you from your current position and what your regular day-to-day duties to be for council members, it's anything for a campaign going forward.
Okay, any questions, Councillor Jablonski?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, clears the bill. Staff are busy enough, don't need to be giving too much against any people. No, clears the bill.
Hey, Councillor Holden,
No question, thank you.
Councillor Saunders,
No, thank you.
Councillor Ackley, okay, I do have comment on G and H. Regarding the integrity commissioner provision and that, it's actually quite clear in the legislation. And that the councillors should actually make use of the integrity commissioner if they have a question of campaign related advice and that during the course of your campaign, so it should not be prohibited. As this says, shall not use the service during the election period for campaign related advice. If it's related to your integrity and that, you're to be able to access the integrity commissioner. And also the enforcement of it. A written complaint process is established in the clerk or designate to grant authority to investigate or resolve issues. I'm sorry, you're not the integrity commissioner and you're not qualified for that. So those 2 pieces I don't agree with. Because the integrity commissioner is a special role. Councillor Jablonski.
I don't have a problem with that, Madam Mayor, as long as anybody campaigning, if there's any cost inhibited by, or if it's associated with an integrity commissioner, they pay for it themselves.
No,
If they want to pay for their advice, and look into it, I don't think we should be paying for campaign people trying to check things out, we're paying a bill for it.
well,
As I said, it's a free service, I don't think it is.
no, it is a service that is legislated towards the municipality and the municipality picks up any expenses related to it. And if the campaign, and we'll have lots of people that'll be new candidates, and if they want to access the integrity commissioner, make sure that they're on the straight and narrow, I wouldn't have a problem with it either. But more importantly, for anybody going for re-election, that is your legal right to have that, and that is their responsibility. It is not something that gets downloaded to the clerk. So I'm gonna ask the clerk, where did you come up with those 2 particular aspects?
Through you, Madam Mayor, it's a policy that we have utilized in the past, not we as in Frontenac Islands, but certainly other municipalities utilize the exact same policy. So if that's the case and council so directs, we can strike item 8 and 9 from the policy and proceed without the integrity commissioner or the enforcement piece.
I think that'd be the wise move in that, because without that, it would, in my view, be tantamount to an illegal bylaw, because it usurps the effort and responsibility of the integrity commissioner. Counselor Saunders.
Madam Mayor, are you proposing an amendment to the,
Yes, I'll pass over to you at this point in time, and I will propose an amendment, the removal of section G and H of this proposed bylaw regarding the integrity commissioner, because that is outside of the purview of what a bylaw should be involved with.
Through you, Madam Mayor, clarification, it's not G and H. G and H is my report. It would actually be 8 and 9 of the municipal resources policy itself.
Thank you very much.
so that clarification, we have a motion on the floor, you need a second for the motion? Asking for a second for the motion. Seeing none, the amendment is defeated.
Okay,
Clearly, chair to you.
thank you very much. So as I stated, I believe this is potentially an illegal bylaw with this piece. And so I'll be asking for a recorded vote on it. Since I can't, you haven't followed my counsel on that. And is there an appetite to have this sent to our lawyer before we have a vote on it?
Madam Mayor, I need to put the motion on the floor. The motion has not been put on the floor. That being said, this is for the report. The actual bylaw will come under the bylaws.
Yeah, so. With the bylaw, as I said, it will be, a recorded vote for it.
Thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, seconded by Councillor Jablonski, that council approve and adopt the use of municipal resources policy AD 001-26 attached as appendix A, and that council directs staff to implement the policy through internal communication, inclusion in the township's election procedures, and distribution as part of the candidate registrant information materials as applicable.
And that'll be a recorded vote as well.
Councillor Ackwick,
I'm in favor of this.
Councillor Halton,
In favor.
Councillor Jablonski,
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Saunders,
In favor.
Mayor Greenwood Spears,
Opposed?
motion is carried.
Okay. Now we're at administration report number AD 010-26 ad hoc committee terms of reference.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The report is before council. This is bringing back the recommendations from the report at the last council meeting, where it clearly laid out who the appointees, et cetera, were to be. So the amendments were made to the committee composure, being appointment of the mayor, 1 member of council, and 5 residents from Wolf Island. And then if council wishes to add any more non-voting members. So if council is unless council wishes to make any recommend or amendments to the terms of reference, we can adopt the terms of reference, and then we will advertise for any residents interested in sitting in on the being a member of the committee.
Okay, any questions? Councillor Jablonski,
No questions.
Councillor Holton,
No question.
Councillor Saunders.
Thank you, Mayor. So if this ad hoc committee passes, are we then going to, is council then going to appoint a council member?
Through you, Madam Mayor, council may appoint today, or they can wait till we receive all the applications, review them, and appoint at that time.
Okay, Councillor Ackley.
No comment.
Okay, a couple comments. One is I suggested we actually do appoint a councillor today, and that's so we don't lose any more time on this to be as efficient as we can. We are already, this is a time limited by the end of this term. We're already in March. I don't want to see this drag on to the April meeting, etc. I have one comment as well. I think we should direct staff at this point in time to request any existing EMS and MTO contingency plans. Because we need to know what is actually out there at this point in time for information purposes so that we can hit the ground running. That would be a direction to council on that unless there's a problem with it. Time is of the essence, and we really don't have much.
Sorry, clarification, Madam Mayor, can you said direct staff to request contingency plans from both MTO and EMS?
Yes,
thank
existing
you.
ones. So in other words, we need to know what the existing plans are when our ferry is out of service, and this is focused on Wolf Island. That was the decision at the previous meeting.
Thank you.
So we know that the contingency plan at Christmas time didn't work out the best for MTO since they didn't know which ferry even fit the dock. So
They don't have.
there we go. So we need to have that official on that there is no contingency plans and that's laid out. And if that's the case, then we know that we're not stepping on any toes, but we want to have that clear. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Mayor, we did have a meeting with MTO. They requested to have a meeting after that fiasco over Christmas. Transport Canada, Coast Guard, ambulance, all of us were in on fire. And what we got out of that meeting is MTO was the only ones that didn't have a contingency plan. Everybody else had one in place. We thought it was gonna be the meeting, they were gonna say, okay, from now on, we're gonna do this. And they asked what everybody's contingency plan was. Well, everybody had one except them.
So if we can have the EMS contingency plan, paramedics, if they have a separate one, whatever we can get. We need to have as much information now, and we can formally ask MTO, maybe they created one since the meeting.
No, they thought that was the greatest thing that.
There you go.
Read what they did at Christmas.
Oh, geez. Anyways, thank you, but I think that's what the staff needs to do. Councillor Saunders.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just for clarification of process here, so that, are you suggesting this be added to the document we're looking at? I think that's an important thing to do. I think it'd be separate from this, and I think as a separate motion, we would direct staff to request that.
Yeah, it's not part of the terms of reference, and
Okay.
that's why I'm saying it's direction to staff at this point in time in support of the terms of reference. So that we don't have any further
I don't
on.
understand. All I'm saying is, that I think that's two steps. We should process properly. So you.
Yeah, well, we aren't voting on the terms of reference just yet, but we will.
The motion's not on the floor yet.
Yeah, it's not on the floor. So is there support of council on that the staff be directed to request any existing contingency plans of EMS, paramedics, MTO, and anybody else that the fire and services might suggest? Are you suggesting that we get Coast Guard contingency plan?
You can, but I think the big thing is to work with ambulance, us and MTO. Because as far as Coast Guard goes, we need to get a hold of them, so that's gonna be part of our contingency plan.
At this point in time, that as much as we can drag in to make sure that we never get caught up so flat-footed again would be great in that. But if they have an existing contingency plan, if there has to be a memo of understanding with the Coast Guard. And I don't know whether we have anything like that.
The only thing that I know that's out there is that, ambulance gets a hold of Coast Guard if they need them, and then we're in contact with Coast Guard to regulate where we're gonna be. And where we're gonna meet them.
Okay, so would you think it'd be beneficial to have anything in contact with Coast Guard at this point in time, since it's this group that'll be driving and making recommendations?
I would make your recommendations first, and if they think you should contact Coast Guard, then that would make that. But, I can see what you're gonna come up with first. And honestly, good luck. I've been working on this for 10 years.
Well, this is it, and I'm a results-oriented person, so
Yeah, well,
I just don't want to trip over top of something that I don't know is already a
I would
landmark.
leave Coast Guard out of it for now.
Okay. Councillor Jablonski.
Thank you, Madam. I sort of recommend 10%. Coast Guard, we do have EMS contingency in place with Coast Guard and Trenton. So that part is already covered. You don't wanna change that around anymore, but it works well when we need it. So yeah, I believe the EMS. Deal with MTO and the FTO with the focus on to get kind of results you guys are looking for. This, in my humble opinion.
Through you, Madam Mayor, we, as the fire department, can get a hold of, JRC.
Okay.
And then they just get clearance from OPP.
Even better. Thanks,
So
Tom.
those two are working together and that's something else you don't need to. It's in place.
JRC, what did you mean by that?
Trenton,
Oh,
the helicopter in Trenton.
okay.
We learned a lot on that call this winter. And nobody had any answers for it.
Yeah, this is it. So we need to. We need to make sure that we get better answers and plans in place, and if it is an effective committee and that there will be recommendations that will be new because the existing didn't work well. Okay? Now we can put it on the table.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by Councillor Halton, seconded by Councillor Jablonski, that council approve the terms of reference for the Ad hoc Ferry and Emergency Medical Services Advisory Committee attached as Appendix A to this report, and that council appoint one member of council to serve on the committee in addition to the mayor, and that council direct staff to proceed with the recruitment appointment process for 5 resident representatives from Wolf Island, and that council authorize the committee to meet on an as-needed basis and to report findings and recommendations to council upon completion of its mandate, or as otherwise directed by council.
Okay, just to be clear on that, because it is a committee of council and that there needs to be clerical support for it, and it'll be public meetings at each of the times, so. There need to be a coordination for that, okay. And no charge for the use of this room,
No, no.
just thought I'd clarify that.
I guess I'm not here, but.
Very good, so then we don't have to do the whole that.
So through you, Madam Mayor, that motion is what's on the floor right now. You wanted to appoint a member of council today as opposed to.
I'd ask for a volunteer and the other 2 councillors and that, and see if there's.
So then- If we want, I can change the second paragraph to appoint Councillor X to serve on the committee.
Councilor Creech.
Councilor.
Is there a volunteer from the 2 councillors from,
Yeah, I'm on.
okay? Councillor Halton.
I just do have one question. Part of my thought, anyways, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. The idea of an ad hoc committee is to get some research done that doesn't involve our staff time, it's outside help. That's one of my big reasons I think for it, so. I don't wanna see this tying up a whole bunch of staff time, so I think we should, as a committee, get together, figure out what we think, and then bring it back to council. That's, do we have to have a clerical staff there, or can we just have a recording secretary like you do on most things?
Through you, Madam Mayor. Our procedural bylaw, as well as the municipal act, just states that minutes are to be recorded and they are the actions. So with a note or comment, so certainly I wouldn't be opposed to creating agendas if there is a minute taker. Or someone willing to take minutes for the committee, that would be greatly beneficial, especially this year with elections.
These are public meetings, so,
That is correct, yes.
yeah, so that's why the formality and that, and given the brief nature that we're looking at, which is basically 6 months at the most. It needs to be done so that there's a good record of it, because this will be involving, in the end, information from multiple ministries.
So we
and
can,
levels of government.
we can post on the website. Any of the dates, I'm assuming you, Madam Mayor, will be calling it and setting the dates and times, et cetera,
Until
of
the
the,
chair decides.
of the meeting. Or for the first, at least for the first one, yeah. So any kind of support that way, you know, staff are willing to help out, it's just. I can't guarantee that I will have staff to attend them.
I appreciate that, but in the meantime, that's why I want to get the direction in there to make sure that we get as much documentation available and in quantity in that, so that everybody has it, so we can hit the ground running. Acts that are relevant can be provided, and certainly they can be done online, downloaded online. That basically, it's gonna be a high functioning working group that has a targeted timeline, because we're going to be running into summer and it's not gonna get any better. Just because the ice is down, our population doubles and the ambulance calls alone are killers. So we need to move as fast as possible in that, and we need to have as much information on hand so we know what we're dealing with.
So if the mover and seconder are good with me changing the appointment of one member of council to council appointing Councillor Holton. Unless there's any further discussion, Madam Mayor.
Okay? Is that all right with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor? Carry. Okay. Okay, now we are at administration report AB 011-26, work plan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The report is before council. Staff met at the end of January, went through everything. This is the list that staff have come up with regards to our work plan for 2026. If council has any questions, I would be pleased to answer them.
Okay, Councilor Jablonski.
Thanks, Mayor. It's quite the work plan. Been really busy summer coming up. Yeah, good luck to the team.
Thanks.
Okay, Councilor Holton.
No, it's a great job, and I hope that everybody in the public will take a look at this, so they'll have an idea of what's going on. We always get hit with lack of communication, but the information's there, everybody would take some time to look at it. Thank you.
Councilor Saunders.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Great report. I did have a question through you to the CEO. Several of these items have our departing treasurer's name on them. And I believe our CEO was quite optimistic about our opportunity to replace the treasurer. I'm not quite that optimistic, not sure why. So the question basically is, how, I don't believe all this can get, when we lose a person with this amount of time and talent, something's got to give. And right now, it doesn't look like anything's giving. So I'd like to understand how we will decide what things don't get done if your optimism around the replacement for Jesse doesn't happen.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. So once the new treasurer comes in, we will definitely sit down and go over, and if there's any items on this list that the individual feels cannot get done, staff will bring back a revised work plan. I know there's several items on there. It's got Jesse's name on it. So a lot of those sorry, some of those are things that he had itemized that he wanted to get done this year. Other things are ongoing day-to-day stuff that occurs throughout the year. So I am very optimistic that we will have a replacement relatively quickly, not 6 months out. So staff will work together to endeavor to get the items as outlined on that work plan accomplished. That being said, if 3 months down the road we don't have one, certainly we can bring back revised report work plan to address what may or may not get done this year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councilor Ackley.
Yeah, great job. I don't see any big deals here except for losing our main man. But it's kind of brought us up a level or two in savings and cost efficiency. And all the rest of the stuff that goes with it. You did a fabulous job, bud. I'm gonna miss you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay. I have a quick question on the tree canopy and natural vegetation policy. I see that's being put out to 2027.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Yes, so I need to work with the county, like our planners, with regards to this, as it is kind of all incorporated with the planning and zoning and official plan and all that kind of stuff, so if they have time to do it this year, great, but I want it to be a little bit more on the cautious side and put it to the 2027.
The reason I raise it is because of the importance of trees and how we've already seen when people buy their lots and that, and they've wiped out massive numbers of trees and the impact that it has disproportionate to our shoreline.
I can certainly reach out to Joe or Sonia and see if we can get,
Isn't it? I think it should be coming a lot sooner rather than later in that because of the detrimental effects we're going to be seeing more and more as people are not appreciating just how important the trees, especially at the shorelines are.
thank you. If there's no further questions, moved by Councillor Halton, seconded by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that administration report number AD 011-26 regarding the 2026 departmental work plan be received, and further that council endorses the 2026 departmental work plan as presented.
Any further questions? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, now we have administration report AD 012-26, request for relocation of the tourist map and information board.
Excuse me. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So for my final report, staff have been requested to have the mapping and all the tourist information that is on the side of the tourist information booth located just outside here be relocated to, I believe it's at the end of, I'm not sure if Kate's still here, but
Yeah.
at the end of the general store, so it's more visible for people coming off of the boat and easier to see as opposed to being hidden in here. So I'm just presenting this to council. I'm not sure if Kate has anything else that she wishes to add. But I'm just looking for council's direction if we are okay with removing it and relocating it down to the general store.
So you have a memo of understanding with the owners of that building since we don't have the old fire hall there.
I do have a letter of permission, whereby the township would be granting them permission to relocate that. If council so wishes, we can certainly enter into a memorandum of understanding.
Because it's on the wall of the store.
Correct, yes, yes, yeah.
So as businesses, we're looking at low cost options to improve communication for visitors and for islanders in general. What we are looking to do at the end of our property, which is now includes the old fire hall property, is in line with the bylaws, putting a fence along there and providing information. And we thought that would be a great area to include that map for visitors, a great place to showcase events and things that are happening. We would also be working potentially with the fire department to be putting the fire van sign there and just creating a welcoming environment for those coming to the island, because it's our first point of contact.
And that was gonna be my next question, so I'm glad to hear the fire ban. Which is very important for any of the short-term rental people coming along. Especially. Okay. Any further questions? Councillor Saunders.
Okay, Mayor, I love the idea, I want to thank business community for taking the initiative to do this. So who's gonna maintain it, should it be damaged, or who's gonna maintain it and keep it, through?
Through you, Madam Mayor, that is addressed in the letter of permission.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay,
Moved by Councillor Chwanaki, seconded by Councillor Halton, that council support the relocation of the township-owned tourist information display assets, map, information board, and associated materials currently located at the Wolf Island Tourist Information Booth to the exterior rear wall of Gina Nagy's Wolf Island General Store, positioned to face the Wolf Island Ferry Dock in order to improve visibility for visitors arriving by the ferry, and that council authorized staff to proceed with the relocation, subject to receiving a no-cost letter of permission from the property business owners and a form satisfactory to the CAO clerk confirming installation and maintenance of the township-owned display on the exterior of the building, and that staff be authorized to coordinate installation, including confirmation of safe placement, accessibility, and ongoing maintenance.
I have one question. The bathrooms and everything that we have here, is this still gonna be open to the public?
Through you, Madam Mayor, and Jesse, you can correct me, I believe there is some major work that needs to happen with regards to this washroom. I don't believe they were opened last year just due to, pipes had broken or something to that.
So through you, Madam Mayor, I think last year with the art gallery agreeing to do some of the tourism services for us and the MTO building being open, they weren't opened. Again, there was an issue discovered late in the season when MTO moved to Dawson where we weren't able to get those open, so we are investigating to fix that. I think in general, the plan is if the MTO building's open, if they have, I guess, larger washing facilities that people in the past have been directed to go there. With that being said, it's more of a cost savings too with that respect, but if council gives direction to have the tourism washrooms open, even if the tourism building itself isn't, staff could make that possible, but the context last year again was the MTO building was available and we had this washroom through the art gallery, so that's why those ones were closed last year.
Okay. I guess my question is answered.
Okay,
Okay.
any further discussion?
I don't see a lot of appetite for discussion on it. Okay,
I'll vote.
call the vote. All those in favor? Carries.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and that's it for me.
Now we have a finance report, though.
Got a few.
Finance 003-26, amendment to personnel policy bylaw 007-2025.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. This report was brought to council last month, but we made the decision to defer it, so it's just being brought to everyone's attention again. Again, just to give a high level overview, we passed the personnel policy a year ago now, it was March 2025. This is just part of an annual review, just looking at further increasing the clarity of the terms. All of this was vetted as well through our legal counsel. And so just to speak quickly to HR 01s, 06, 10, 12, 13, and 14. These are all just minor word changes to improve the clarity and kind of the administration of the plan. In the staff report, I've included the original wording and the amended wording for what would change. With respects to HR 33, in our original personnel policy, we did develop a pay equity policy. However, as part of our pay equity study last year, our consultants developed a much more comprehensive study or a policy, especially with respect to administrating pay equity. So due to just the size of it in my staff report, I made reference just to Appendix A and Appendix B, with Appendix A being the original and Appendix B being the amended. Not related to this report, I think last time we kind of discovered it was a little bit of administration hassle to print the whole 100-page policy. So what we've done today with the bylaw attached to this is that we are specifically just making changes to the proposed sections. And then our personnel policy be reposted for employees if approved with an amendment date of March 2026. One final thing to note, besides the changes that are noted in the staff report, nothing else in the policy has been changed, and that will all be the same, unedited or changed. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, Councillor Jablonski.
No, thanks, Mayor. It's gone for the wash a few times and we was just missing the Appendix B from last time, so I think we're good. No questions.
Okay, Councillor Holden.
Yeah, we've beat this report up as much as we can, it's been around and around, this is a housekeeping item. We need to get it done and put it away.
Okay, Councillor Saunders.
No, thank you.
Councillor Ackley.
Yeah, no, I don't have any comments.
Okay, I agree with the housekeeping changes for the majority of this, but as you noted, HR 33 and that was significant. including even the title of it being pay equity versus being pay bands, which is essentially when I read through it, it is not related to pay equity. So I'd like to have that voted on separately. And the rest can be voted on in one block, and that HR 33 will get looked at as a recorded vote. Okay, so this is just the report part.
Yes, correct. Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, second by Councillor Jablonski, that finance report number FN 003-26, amendment to personnel policy bylaw number 007-2025 be received, and further that council approve bylaw number 008-2026 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 007-2025 by the proposed amendments to section HR 01, HR 06, HR 10, HR 12, HR 13, HR 14, and HR 33.
Pull out HR 33.
This is just the report, so the bylaw itself will come later, just for clarification.
Okay. All right, any further questions? All those in favor? Carried. Okay. Now we're at finance report FN 005-26, 2025 Q4 year-to-date financial report. Even though we haven't hit the end of Q4.
Oh, we had for 2025.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, so this report details our financial results to the end of December. Just for context today, I'm just gonna do a brief high-level overview. The report itself, I just wanted to make sure, especially with myself leaving, as much information was in there as possible. It is 3,500 words, so I'm just gonna hit the high level. The first thing I want to state is we have not gone through our year-end audit, which means I kind of give the disclaimer that all these numbers did come from our books, and I did review and I did make changes to make sure that we captured everything we could. Preparing for audit is, a lot more stringent, and that's where you check all your boxes. And with the audit as well, for example, there could be an invoice from last year that maybe you just haven't received or missed. So the caveat is these are what I have today as our numbers, but they could be subject to change depending on the audit. I've left detailed notes for whoever replaces me as treasurer, so if there is anything significant, they should be able to explain to compare to what you have today. Just kind of speaking of the township as a whole, we do have a very large surplus at the end of the year. Again, across all departments. So again, looking at this number, I'm just going to break it down on kind of the main factors that contributed to it. A big portion of this is actually a result in our general departments. We had significant revenues with respect to our investments. They outperformed what was budgeted quite a lot, as well as the additional revenue from taxation and interest penalty. So again, that did contribute a large part to the surplus we're seeing at year end. When we look at the Wolf Island departments, you will see that on the operating side, there was a little bit of budget overages. But this was mitigated again by coming under budget on capital projects. The one point I did want to make with the Wolf Island one, a lot of those departments had budget transfers or reserve transfers as part of budgets, which show up as expenses. So for example, fire had a reserve transfer of $64,000. So while on the budget is showing an $8,000 deficit, that also includes a reserve transfer of $64,000. My point being there is, again, there was still opportunity to build up the reserves, and overall the Wolf departments did have a very slight surplus of a few $1,000s. If we look at Howe Island, again, just the high level, a little bit the opposite picture. The departments on the operating side had a lot of surpluses across the departments. Capital came in at the end of the year a little bit over budget. But as you can see, still over 100,000 surplus for the Howe Island departments. So overall, very strong performance. So again, I think just to reiterate, there's I think since I've been here, the big focus is having a budget, having realistic, and then hopefully at the end of the year we have some surplus to go back and build up the reserves and keep trekking on. Again, it was an effort from all the management and staff to make sure we fall within the budget lines. With that being said, I do know there's a lot that I've kind of passed over in this report, but happy to take any questions. Again, the purpose of the report too was just to give you high level, here's what was really driving the changes. But happy to answer any questions about any of the numbers.
Okay, questions, Councillor Javonaki?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. So I love the conclusion part, Jesse. Overall surplus between township 400,000 and change.
I should
You
add
sure you
it.
can't stay for 1 more year or something? 1 more year. That's fantastic. Great job by all the staff. Like, that's mind blowing. Well done. Well done.
Okay, Councillor Hope?
Yeah, great job, Jesse. Yeah, great job as staff. There's some, this is what you hope with the budget. You can stick to it and if we can come in under it. Yeah, somebody for a little bit over. One of the big ones was our department, that legal. We've got to learn how to solve our own problems without costing money. But overall, great job.
Councillor Saunders?
Thank you, Mayor. Congratulations to Jesse for putting it all together, and congratulations to the staff and department heads for meeting the commitment we set out, which was meet your budget, and if you have a surplus, don't just go and spend it. We'll keep it in the bank and we'll use it for future reserves and such. I am disappointed in the one department that hasn't done their job, which is council. We are $25,000 over budget. Can I get an explanation of that?
Yep, through you, Madam Mayor, so, in the report as well, the big drive is, legal costs. So again, I think just for context, for legal costs, there was none in the council budget. Just being, again, I think we're all aware of the cost the municipality incurred just with the kind of litigation and the lawyer fees that come with that. It felt it was more appropriate to be included as part of the council budget. That's also for the 2026 budget, we did budget for future expenditures, so this is just making sure what we're reporting in 2025 is kind of what will be aligned with what we're reporting in 2026. But yeah, so it's in the report as well. It's really just kind of legal expenditures relating to litigation and lawyer fees that added to that total.
Okay, does that include integrity commission?
Yeah, oh yeah, so through you, Madam Mayor, I'd say it'd probably be around like $23,000 to $25,000 for legal expenditure. The rest would be some integrity commission reports that we've also started to record.
Minor.
Like, yes, like maybe 5,000, 6,000 for integrity
That's
commission reports.
33,000 somewhere.
Yeah, so 25 for legal and then the remainder like integrity commissioners, yeah.
So piece.
So we always treat these legal situations as somewhat either enclosed or whatever. So I'm not sure, can you state what the charges were for? So integrity commission
Yeah.
versus whatever else?
Yeah, so through you, Madam Mayor, the integrity commissioner reports, I don't have them all off the top of my head. I believe we incurred those at the start of last year. And those reports would have been brought to council. As far as the legal expenditures, that just represented our lawyers' costs. As you most recently, we had the date in court and we're still waiting for the decision. But obviously, the lawyers' time involved in that case with preparation leading to the court date itself. There's a lot of legal hours that goes into preparing, the township's defense, which is then, reflected in the cost of the township. So, it's I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but the cost per hour does get high. So when we do have these situations, it does add up.
So for clarification, so the legal action taken against council was costing somewhere around 30,000 plus.
I'd say at this point, 25,000 with expected to have in costs in 2026 reported as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Acker?
The only question I have is how come the Simcoe ferry costs 200,000 more a year than the Howe Islander little ferry?
Yeah, so through you, Madam Mayor, on the expenditure side, it operates 24/7. So that does add up over the year. The other thing you didn't mention it, Howe Island has more pass and ticket revenue, so. But yeah, so it is just due to general operations. They are different vessels as well. We do have the 3-car ferry where the Simcoe would be more akin to the type of ferry the county operates. So it is larger, which would require additional costs.
I thought I did see the fuel costs and whatever else. Is it mostly
Is it more wages?
Yeah, so through you, Madam Mayor, I think,
For
I think you're pulling from my next report, so I don't know if, like, that, right, we were doing that quarterly, but, I could take your questions when we do the next report, just on the specifics.
Okay. And I have a question that under the admin department that exceeded the budget by 65,000.
Yep. Sorry, my computer turned off. Yeah, so it was noted in the report as one of the departments that exceeded its budget, so 65,000, so. There is a lot of costs that flow the admin department, so there was quite a bit, which I refer to just as minor budget variances, so they were like less than $5,000, but. For example, just an example not in the report is like office supplies, I think maybe $3,000, $2,000 over budget. The big ones that we did see was computer software costs. So a lot of these costs actually for software that we use flow through the county IT. I think there might have been some that either were billed on a 2-year basis, or there was a few costs that were missed being billed in 24, so we kind of had a little bit of a double up in 25. Which then now just get recorded in 25. Contracted services, we had a little bit of an overage relating to the asset management plan, which was with Watson and Associates, so that came in a little bit more than we expected. I think that would probably be 5,000 of that 9, and then just otherwise, maybe our consultants were just a little bit over as well. So when I looked at the departments, those 2 that I noted were like the biggest categories that were over. But if I went through it, there'd be, you know, across the board. Again, it's we don't intend to have budget overages, so it is something, if I was still here, and I'll leave notes for the next treasurer, is to look at those categories, so for the next budget, if there are things that aren't meeting it, we would get that sorted out, but hopefully that gives you a general sense of what was leading the process.
Were any of the legal services in under admin?
Yes, yeah, so any other legal matters. So we do report, so we record legal services under public works as well, so if it's like a road related issue or road legal, one would go there. General admin legal matters, for example, if staff reach out to legal for advice on like a personnel policy and that stuff, that would flow through the admin department.
So zoning would go in under public works as well?
So zoning, I do believe there might be some budget under planning, like I was trying to think, for example, like if there's any yeah, I guess I'm also just being careful not to speak to anything specific just for closed sessions, but if basically we just try to put them in buckets that make the most sense. So yeah, zoning might fall under like the planning department, contracted services.
And an update on our seniors housing, do we have still 2 units empty?
So through Madam Mayor, we currently have 1 unit vacant. Unfortunately, last year, as I mentioned in the report, we did have 2 units turn over. One thing I did want to kind of make clear to council, because we did have the report raising the price. That direction we got to council, we were very clear that we would charge up to that amount, but it gave staff the leeway to charge rent less if they had trouble using it, so. What we found the issue so far, we have a wait list, everyone said no. It's for personal reasons, a lot of times they're not quite ready to make that jump. So we again, I think at this point, it's been vacant at least since the start of fall, so we are trying to fill it. Dropping the price hasn't seemed to help with who's interested. What I will say is that we're now posting on our Facebook, I think now on a weekly basis, the ad. As well as at the post office and the general store. The one thing staff hasn't done is we haven't posted on websites such as Kijiji. The purpose for that is that the intention of the senior home was for residents of Wolf Island. So we feel the best way to meet them is either through our Facebook, that's our online presence, or at, you know, the general store or the post office where people might see it. But yeah, so there, just to clarify, we did still have 1 unit vacant and we're actively working to fill it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by Counselor Ackley, seconded by Counselor Halton, that finance report number FN 005-26, the 2025 Q4 year-to-date financial report be received.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Now we have finance report 006-26-2025 petition to subsidy for the Ontario Ministry of Transportation.
Perfect, thank you, thank you through you, Madam Mayor. This report's one that we bring to council annually, so at the end of the year, we summarize all our costs, and then we must submit this petition to MTO to actually get our 80% reimbursement. Again, there's a report for each island. The total expenses for Simcoe were 659,000 compared to 450,000 for Howe Island. So attached to the agenda are the breakdowns of the cost and the actual petition form that we'll sign today with the mayor to submit to MTO for quick reimbursement. I will leave it at that. Councilor Ackley, I know you had some questions about kind of the difference in cost, so once that gets around to you, I'm happy to answer those.
Councillor Jablonski,
Thanks, Madam Mayor. No question, Jesse. Thank you.
Councillor Halton,
No question, thank you.
Councillor Saunders,
Thank you.
Councillor Ackley.
Yeah, the only question I had is like $200,000 is a lot of money. I realize they run 24 hours a day, but I think their fuel costs, but I can't see the fuel cost. Was the equivalent to ours. In there, but the wages are way up there. Is that everybody on that sheet?
Yeah, so through you, Madam Mayor, the wages, again, the difference we'd be seeing is the Simcoe ferry operates from 12 AM. Well, operates 24/7, where the Howe ferry closes at 12 and then starts back up at 6:15. So they do have different hours of operation. As far as the other operational costs, fuel was a bit more. Not an expert, but it is a bigger vessel, so my assumption it would be consume more fuel. Sometimes too, when we look at these costs, it depends on the type of year. It could be a year where a vessel needs a lot more repairs and maintenance, or there's more repairs and maintenance needed at the dock. And that will fluctuate year to year, so I would say in general, though, the Simcoe Island ferry, we always have a larger subsidy claim than we do for the Howe Island one.
Okay, does that satisfy you?
Yeah, I think it says it's almost the same. And you have a seasonal ferry passes there, right?
Yes,
So. Their passes, it doesn't elaborate whether this is how or.
yes, my apologies.
So,
The first
Yeah.
one is Simcoe, and the second one is Howe. As far as the attachments.
Yeah. Well, I was looking for your passes, 75,000, right, is that Aladdin?
Yeah.
And ferry passes is 75,000, Well, I just flipped the page over, that's all, doesn't elaborate. The difference, whether this is how islands or. I guess it's the same thing on two sides, right?
No, it's right, your page doesn't indicate which
Yeah.
one's down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first one is Simcoe, the second one is Howe. What I will note, sorry, the Simcoe revenue I'm just noticing is the same as Howe, which is incorrect. 1 second. Second.
No worries.
This is definitely us. I'll give you a system last time. Years, so it's.
It's an error, so that's.
Yeah, so through Madam Mayor, I was just checking the numbers, so on the Simco one, the revenue numbers are incorrect. They pulled from the HAL one. The one thing I was checking is this doesn't impact the subsidy payable for other islands, so those numbers are correct, so. It's the petition forms that are attached that needs to be signed, so those numbers are fine. With that being said, it's basically just a quick amendment. I do have the Simco revenue numbers. But just to give you context, Simco, I think is believe around $28,000 for past revenue and around $3,000 for ferry fees. Again, it's smaller population and on Howe Island, there's a lot more people coming over. But just for context today, just I guess from my perspective, the subsidy petition forms. Still, those numbers that I put on there are the correct numbers, because they relate to the expenses. And just the sooner we get those to MTO, the better, just because they send us the checks for the remaining amounts.
Okay, Councillor Atkins?
That's fine, that's enough information, thank you, sorry to correct you.
Yeah, oh, no, absolutely, no, that's what I'm here for. After council today, I can resend those charts, those graphs with the correct ones, and then for public information, I don't know, either website or bring it back to council next time, just with
We can
the,
post some, to make you better for your next job.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm pleased that Councillor Ackley noted this discrepancy. I was also trying to follow
Yeah.
the numbers. And I'm still trying to follow the numbers for the requisition for the Howe Island Township Ferry, because the figure there is different than what I anticipated it would be. And I do have 437,843.39. But over here, it's 458,918. In your page 2 in that. And while it's an identical figure for the Simcoe Island Ferry, and that which we already have clarified is not necessarily perfect in that, this one here, I couldn't understand why it was different.
Yeah, sorry, could you just repeat that? I have the report, like for Howe Island, what,
For Howe Island.
Yep.
And that you have on page 2, 458,918. But on your requisition, you have 437,843.39. I just couldn't
Yeah.
understand where it came from.
yeah, I believe that one is supposed to be 458.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, so looking now, it should match, that number should be the total net cost. That's what we report to MTO, so should be like line 20 on the uh
458,918.
yeah. That is correct.
If that piece fixed.
Thank you, no, I appreciate it.
Isn't that, I appreciate Councillor Ackley
Yeah.
looking for the figures too.
Yeah.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'd also like to bring up too that. And I was wondering, through Jesse. We're still running under the old program with MTO that we own the ferry. Well, they own the ferry now. And they have certain. Rules that they want you to carry so much equipment and stuff like that. So when we get into the new program, will that change?
Yeah, so through you, Madam Mayor, there have been discussions, so basically, we have MOUs to our agreement, like based on understanding, because MTO now owns the boat. We're currently waiting on updated agreements from MTO for both ferries. Within those agreements, they're gonna further define those terms and make everything a lot more crystal clear. For example, if there's certain costs that should be reimbursed at 100% compared to 80%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The cables are 22,000.
Okay, so good to know.
Yeah, and that's what I was hoping to down the road, like. The cables right now is only 80-some%, where it should be 100% because it's their ferry. Yeah, so once the new program gets in place. It'll have to be decided what exactly they pay for, what they don't.
Okay.
But right now, we're running under the old program, it's
Okay,
80%.
so that's something that can be brought forward by the CAO in her meeting as well, and that to give them a heads up that that's
Well,
gonna be done at a higher level.
they are talking about this. It's a new what is it,
T-pond.
or something? A new way of payment and stuff like that, so. It's just like everything else, it just takes so long to get in place.
Okay. And my final question that is, how much of the Simcoe Ferry is related to overtime? Because that had been problematic before, and I'm wondering if we're running into that.
Through you, Madam Mayor, there definitely still will be some overtime charges. I think definitely if you look at past claims, we're lower on salary and expenses with that respect. We do now do 12-hour shifts, so that allows us to do a schedule where, I think there was times before where to get the ferries or like change off, it would lead to more overtime, so. Again, with the salary and benefits, I believe it was fairly aligned to what we actually budgeted. To compare to, especially in the past with what they had for the department.
So we're not falling down the path of
No,
excessive overtime
No,
again.
no.
Okay, good to know. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by Deputy
sorry,
Mayor.
Vanessa, my
Sorry, yeah.
apologies, so. I am still looking at the petitions signed today, the mayor is correct in saying that it should be 458 and not 437 specifically for the Howe Island one. I know in my staff report, we just say approve the petition subsidy, I don't know if we need any wording to say amended as discussed in council, just so after this, oh, we're good.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Saunders, seconded by Councillor Jablonski, that finance report number FN 6 26 2025 subsidy petition with the Ontario Ministry of Transportation be received, and that council approve and sign the 2025 petition for subsidy for the Howe and Simcoe Island ferries. And we will ensure that we get the correct amounts in the first signature.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Now we have finance report. Number FN 006-26. I guess that's the same
Yes.
thing.
Okay.
My mistake.
It's one day.
We have another finance report here. Okay. Finance report number
No, we're on to the fire.
fire. Oh, that's
Yeah.
finance.
Yeah, you gave me a heart attack, I'm like, I don't think I have a fourth one.
I saw FI, I was thinking finance, my mistake. Mobile fire report. FI 001-26, request for direction to submit a pilot proposal to the Ministry of Health. And we're going to have. Vanessa,
No, sorry, through you, Madam Mayor, I will turn that over to Chief Hawkins.
okay,
So what we've been looking at is, because of our wait times and the ferry being tied up and stuff like that. We wanted to go to the ministry to see if we could get a pilot project where we could transport patients to the dock in town. And the paramedics would pick them up there. Our guys would have to train up a bit more, which they're all for that. So we would, like anything else, try to get as much out of that. The ministry, the government as we can to run this pilot project. And because it's such a unique area, things are different. And you're looking at a 3-hour turnaround for an ambulance. Yeah. By the time it leaves the city till the time it gets back in service again. So we would benefit them a lot too. Along with us, because probably 90% of our calls we could take the person. So it would be a transfer service, not a ambulance service.
okay, I'll have questions shortly.
Yep.
Councillor Jablonski?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Tim, I know we discussed before, I think I'm glad to see you taking the lead on this now. I think it's the only thing we can do, we've gone to council, before county council, we're so stuck behind a rock now, so.
No.
I'm glad to see what we're doing here this is probably the best solution I can see.
Well, I just think we should keep going forward.
No, I commend you that. No question shot at.
Okay, Councillor Holton?
Yeah, I'm glad to see it. I mean, I think that's where it's gotta be driven from. It's gotta be the people that are going to do the work are willing to. It sounds like they are. I think that we can let our senior staff go with it, and if you need any support from us, it's great. I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Councillor Saunders?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Great, this attacks so many issues. I think it's very comprehensive. We're gonna either bend some rules or we're gonna actually scare some people perhaps in the right term, but I think we've got to go forward. This is an issue that has to be addressed, and I think this is the most comprehensive approach I've seen presented so far. I think the fact it's a pilot gives us a little bit more latitude in terms of, we want to work through this, so comments to you and your staff for putting those together. Thank you.
Hey, Councillor Ackley?
Yeah, again, great job, and hey, timing saves lives. So you can move them, say 3 hour turnaround, 2 hours, 10 minutes,
Well, it even
5
helps.
minutes,
It even helps spare you.
it's just a win in my books.
So we'll get the ministry on board, over this.
Okay, just wanted to get clarification on a couple things, that,
If I can answer,
okay. I think there's about 3 different acts that this comes under.
well, there is the ambulance act, but we wouldn't be following the ambulance act, we would be a transfer service.
Right, but that comes under a separate ministry of the ambulance. Act?
There's really, we had a chat with a company there in Vanessa, right? With a company out of Ottawa, and there's really no law saying you can't do it.
Okay,
Under the ambulance act, you can't provide an ambulance service. We're not providing an ambulance service, we want to provide a transfer service.
yeah, I appreciate that. I dealt with it in the north.
Yeah,
a fair bit.
yeah, right.
And the other 2 acts, so that we have to deal with, or that you're looking at, I think only
What are the other 2 acts? I just know the ambulance act.
just the ambulance act, okay. I'll get back on my paperwork on that, but there's,
Yeah,
because you're going to the Ministry of Health.
yeah.
And the ambulance act is under the Ministry of Attorney General, I believe.
I think, yeah, it's their own act.
Yeah.
Through the,
This is it, so. One way or the other, in that the 2 have to get addressed.
and I mean, there may be things that have to be changed.
Yeah, well, the committee in that may
Yeah.
also do research in this that may be helpful. Clear exclusions in your report under point 1 was clear exclusions were paramedic level as required, suspected stroke, MI, unstable vitals. I'm thinking somebody having an MI or a stroke is exactly who I want to get moved as fast as possible.
Exactly,
And
and
that's
it
not an
says,
exclusion.
and under, I read that, if you go in, and I was just finding some information online for different things that happen, and yes, and it says right in there, in an extreme emergency, the fire department can move patient, like a stroke, something that's time consuming.
Yeah, yeah, the, one of the other pieces that got changed in the past, just from a historic perspective. Is that when we had, for example, the one paramedic over here, and then they'd have to get a second person to quote, drive the ambulance and
Yeah.
have. It was a change that was brought in to satisfy OPSU.
Yes.
Because up to that point, the act allowed for any professional driver, whether it was a taxi driver, fire department employee that technically has better qualifications than most of the ambulance drivers, and I know that for reading up on the information. But also, police officers were also allowed to drive, and that anybody with a superior license could have driven. So that would be another aspect in that to look at some point.
But basically, what we wanna do is no different than you taking your husband.
Yeah.
To meet an ambulance.
Exactly, exactly, and under the Good Samaritan Act, usually there is
And that's
no,
why we leave ambulance out of the whole equation.
right, so I go back to this one point then on, point 1, it says clear exclusions where paramedic level care is required. The suspected stroke, MI, unstable vitals, etc., unconscious and significant respiratory. These are still people that we would be willing to transport.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I mean, there may be, the ministry may come back and say the person may have to sign a waiver saying, take me.
Yeah, this is it. I just wondered about the wording of this, because as soon as I read that, I thought, okay, that implies that that's who we're not willing to transfer, because right above it, we say medically stable, low acuity patients suitable for non-emergency transfer.
And we are trained for strokes and stuff.
Well, this is it, but is this worded properly in this particular document?
That I'm not sure.
I-
I had the help of Vanessa do it.
Okay, and that's for,
If you think something should be changed in there, then
this is it, and, okay. Vanessa?
Sorry. Through you, Madam Mayor, Chief Hawkins and I will work on the letter to be drafted to the Ministry of Health. Requesting a pilot project, so.
I'm wondering where this wording though came from in that under point one. And that the second paragraph.
Oh, sorry.
That eliminates basically the whole point of getting people transferred.
It was just something I had drafted up. I ran it through Tim. He was fine with it, but
and we
maybe
knew
that
it
was
was
just,
just.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that it should get removed before we go much further.
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah, we can do that before we send it.
Yeah, and because we can call it medically stable, low acuity patients for non-emergent. and That, but I hope we transfer a whole heck of a lot and we may be limiting ourselves. Quite frankly, by saying low acuity and that, but then by excluding the other ones, we are definitely putting a noose around our.
This was basically just to get something before council and then decide. What we needed to put in the letter.
Yeah, because I know that it will ruffle feathers at higher levels all the way along.
Oh, it's gonna ruffle feathers, yeah.
Yeah, and we need to make sure that we don't shoot the bar too low.
No, that's fine, yeah.
Yes, Councilor Saunders.
Again, appreciate you doing this. It would not I would not be surprised if you move forward on this. There's statements made about, well, you don't have a certain piece of equipment. I would ask, I guess, that if that becomes a barrier, you get the equipment you need from council and get the equipment and keep moving. So we move as many barriers as we can. I'm just trying to think of the things that different groups might throw in terms of why you can't do this because. So. You go forward.
And we did learn a lot from this guy that we talked to. Stuff can be done if we can get a doctor on board. There's a lot of different things that. Well, a doctor can help you out with.
Yeah.
And there is people willing to come on board over here.
Nice to meet you.
And if at some point you want strength in numbers, I know that there are multiple mayors that I've talked with from the north that have this same barrier, literally waiting 3 hours for an ambulance to finally arrive before they can move the patient.
Yeah.
So if we can move forward on our own, but happy to spread the word with other concerned mayors because it has to change. It's not working for anyone.
Let's get our meeting first with the minister.
And find out if that's gonna be the only minister you need though. That's the other thing. I
Yeah.
have a feeling you're gonna be dealing with the next, at least the minister of Attorney General.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by Councillor Holt and seconded by Deputy Mayor Saunders that council direct staff to send a letter to the Ontario Minister of Health requesting consideration of a time-limited pilot project, 12 or 24-month period that would permit the Wolf Island Fire Department to transport medically stable patients using a designated transfer arrangement from Wolf Island to the Kingston Dock area, where care would be formally transferred directly to a waiting Frontenac Paramedic Service land ambulance for hospital transport, and that council authorized staff to work with Frontenac Paramedic Service, Ministry of Health, Emergency Health Services Branch, or appropriate program area, and other necessary partners, including MTO, for the ferry operations, to refine pilot parameters, eligibility criteria, training, equipment, documentation, governance, risk management, and evaluation metrics, and report back to council as needed.
Okay, further discussion? I got one question. Do you think we should also CC the Attorney General on that so that at least they're aware, because that is the Ambulance Act?
I would think we deal with the ministry and let them decide what they want us to do.
They're separate ministries, but I think.
I know they are, but I mean, let's get this far first. And then
Okay,
if we have to go to the Attorney General,
okay,
we will.
okay, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, now we have public, yes,
And also through you, we did this over Christmas. We transported people to the boat, to the ambulance service and stuff, nobody ever said anything then.
As a matter of fact, the dispatch can at any time direct you fellows to do that.
Yeah, they told us we were on our own,
This is it.
that one
So,
call, that's a.
so with that, it's certainly a doable piece. It's just a matter of getting it past the standing orders that, you know, it's an
Exactly.
emergency and in the best judgment of those that are trained.
Perfect, thank you very much.
Okay.
Probation.
Public Works Marine Report, number PWM 2 26, Howe Island 3-car ferry. And we have Vanessa, are you? gonna
No,
speak to it, or
sorry,
Chief Quinn?
Yep.
Okay,
So through you, Madam Mayor, the report is before council. The only thing I want to emphasize is that we are at the mercy of Transport Canada in terms of completing the annual inspection. I'm putting before council that every single effort is being made to ensure the inspection happens at a time that the county ferry is not closed. But Transport Canada will decide whether we like it or we don't like it. And so I just don't want the public thinking that we didn't consider this. We are doing everything possible to not close that ferry for an inspection. But we're at the mercy of Transport Canada.
but your report indicates it's March the 9th.
Today is March the 9th is preparation for the inspection.
Okay, so it's not closed today.
It is closed today to prepare for the inspection.
And the county ferry is still running
Is
today.
running, yes.
Thank God.
But my concern through you, Madam Mayor, exactly that. Councilor Ackland, you just nailed it. If they say to us, we're coming Wednesday, they will be there Wednesday. And we're trying hard to not allow that to happen, but we really
Okay,
have no control.
all right. Okay, thank you very much. Questions, Councillor Jablonski?
No questions.
Councillor Holton?
No question.
Councillor Saunders? Councillor Mackley? Okay, and. Okay, good luck on that. All those.
moved by Councillor Ackley, second by Councillor Jablonski, the Public Works Marine Report number PWM 2 26, Howe Island Public Works Marine Report received.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're up to action items. Sandy Kenyon regarding the Wolf Island Community Medical Clinic Fun Run request for 96 closure on July the 5th, Sunday, 2026. Everybody has a letter to that effect.
Moved by Councillor Holton, second by Councillor Ackley, that the request received from the Wolf Island Community Medical Clinic Fund Run be received and that council support the annual road race and grant the request to close Road 96 west of St. Lawrence Street to Victoria Street from 9 AM to 11 AM on Sunday, July 5th, 2026.
Okay, any discussion? Councillor Jablonski?
Thanks, Mary. The only thing I'd be concerned about is if Wolf Island had 4 departs at 9 AM. We didn't know if it was 4 to 3, but 9 AM's constant time across both ferries, so I guess it doesn't really matter too much, so, nope. This is their fundraiser, they need this, fully supported.
Councillor Holton?
No, this is annual event, it's pretty easy.
Okay, Councillor Saunders?
So thank you.
Councillor Ackley? Okay, I think we should probably give the heads up to the Anglican Church as well, because it looks like that's on the road. Just to make sure that, because of the timing, we'll get them or they're leaving, but aside from that, I don't have an issue with it. Anything. Yes.
We were also contacted the fire department, we always look after their, like, at the intersections and stuff, and move traffic through.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking of the crowd that may come out of the Anglican Church at that point in time.
We're at that corner too and stuff, and the way it works out, it seems to be good.
All right. Now we have to call all those, you've introduced it, okay.
Yeah.
All those in favor? Now we have the Town of Fort Francis Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund.
Moved by Councilor Jablonski, second by Councilor Ackley, that the request received for support from the town of Fort Francis regarding the resolution for Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund be received and filed or endorsed.
Okay, and I'll ask which you would like to have, and any questions, Councilor Jablonski.
No questions endorsed.
Councilor Holton,
Endorse.
Councilor Saunders. Councilor Ackley.
And
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Now we have Township of Southgate, support for Bill 21, Protect Our Food Act 2025.
Moved by Councilor Holton, second by Deputy Mayor Saunders, that the request received from the Township of Southgate regarding the resolution support for Bill 21, Protect Our Food Act 2025 be received and filed or endorsed.
Okay, and I'll ask councilors again. Councilor Jablonski, would you like a father endorse?
Endorsed, please.
Councilor Holton,
Endorse.
Councilor Saunders,
Endorsed.
and Councilor Ackley.
Endorsed.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're at the public question period. And I don't see any public here. Do we have anybody online that has a hand up? I don't see any hand up. Kimberly Thomas. Okay,
Can you hear me okay?
yep, yes, we can. State
Thank you.
your name and your address, please.
Kimberly Thomas, 15 8th Line Road, Wolf Island, Ontario, Canada, KOH2YO. Two questions. The election bylaw that you talked about at the beginning of the meeting said that council would be able to vote whether somebody could put a sign up on their property. But I just want to be clear, because it kind of sounded like, suppose everybody on council wanted the Liberal guy to have a sign up and the Conservative person not to have a sign up. Is it all or nothing for signs, or is it depending on who's asking for the sign to be put on that the decision gets made?
Okay,
know what I
are you asking, just for clarity in that, I think what we're talking about, what you're talking about is actually on our municipal land, such as at the township garage, at the municipal hall here. It's not private property. You can put it up wherever you want. If you want to put it at the side of the road and it's not obstructing the view, go right ahead. And
Yeah.
that, so it's nothing dramatically different in that. It's just that you don't get to put your NDP sign up at the township garage. That's, and even at the entrance of the township garage would probably be problematic. Across from the dump and that, or the recycling centers, as we like to call them, or anything else. I don't see a big problem with that. Putting it on the same side as the recycling center, probably more problematic. So it's nothing dramatically different than what we've had in the past.
Okay, I just wondered, because you were talking about them having to get permission to put it somewhere, and that you guys would decide who gets permission. So it's based on safety, basically, not the party, right?
Well, no, it's not the party, but we don't allow even the counselors or anybody else to put it on clearly identifiable municipal land other than the sides of the roadway. And as I said, you know, putting it too close to our municipal assets, that would be very unfortunate. In other words, don't stick it up at the community center. That's not right. Oh, you know, Big Sandy Bay, again, not right. On municipal, we have to be respectful in that, and quite frankly, as a candidate, an owned sign is always more important and that than one that's just lining the road. Just to put that. Okay.
And
now-
who are we requesting permission from if one does want to put a sign up? Who do they request permission from?
I don't know who you would need to request permission from.
Oh, I thought that was mentioned in the bylaw. I thought that was what they were talking about. Okay, if you
Yeah.
don't, then
Clerk to clarify, because I'm not aware of that one.
I'm not, and Kimberly, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you are referring to is the conversation that I had with Councillor Ackley with regards to federal or provincial signs. Here in the last federal election, a federal candidate placed a federal sign, campaign sign on a township parking lot on Howe Island. So our conversation was addressing because it states in the bylaw that they would request unless otherwise authorized, so a federal or provincial candidate would have to come to council to request permission for placement of one of their candidate signs on municipal property that is not a side of the road or a road allowance.
Okay, right, that's what I was speaking of. Correct. So if permission was granted, it would be granted for any political candidate of that, in that election. It wouldn't be, oh yeah, the Liberal guy can and then NDP guy can't, or something like that, right? Where it would be either a yes or no,
Or
correct?
federal or provincial.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify. Thank you. And then the other issue that I had a question about was just that the part about transporting people, which is great, any way to get people to the hospital faster, I agree with. But if I'm being transported with the transport service that we're setting up and I start to have a heart attack, are they not allowed to give me any CPR or anything because they're just the transport service without being sued or something? Or I won't be able to give my permission because I'm in the heart attack. You know, is that all, that's all thought about, right? That's going to be dealt with?
I can have the chief clarify it, but I can tell you, even a layperson that's trained in CPR can do it, and we're gonna have very well-trained, enhanced training for our fire responders, and it is the fire responders that'll be doing the transfer.
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor, Kimberly, yes, we would be able to do CPR, be no different than coming to your house and having to do CPR. We would just continue doing it in the transfer. That would be one reason why it would be nice to transfer if something like that happened.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Appreciate the effort. That'll be great. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else with a hand up there? I don't see anybody else. Okay, wonderful. Now we have a statement by members. Councillor Dwight.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Just one statement again. See you, Jesse. Thanks again for all the budget work. And last 2 years have been great. We have a solid format going forward now. It's because of you helping the staff get there. So thank you. And good luck in your job.
Thank you.
Councillor Holden.
Yeah, I agree. Back Mike on that. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best in your new job. Also, I've been out, drove around the roads. I know everybody complains about them. There's not much you can do. The water's got away pretty good. You need to be patient, even when the conditions get right on the side roads that I'm mostly talking about. You can only do 5 to 7K a day, with grader, and the conditions need to be right. You can't do it when it's too wet. So everybody be patient. They're ready to hit them. They've already been out trying, and it'll get fixed. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Saunders.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As some of you may know, I attended the Roma conference back in January. And on the Sunday morning, they had an exercise called tabletop exercise called exercise cold front. And I'm like, oh, this sounds familiar. Ice storm and everything else, given what we all had gone through over Christmas. And it's an important learning, but one of the important learnings I got from that was all the steps that staff took, and I'll point to the chief here specifically, were right in line with what that exercise was telling us to do. There was a lot of comments about, we had a lot of comments locally, is this an emergency, bring in the Air Force, the Army, all that stuff. Their message was, that's the absolute last thing you want to do. Consult your local representative. I can't remember the exact term. And I said, that's what we did. And they said, perfect. And then at the end of the session, I had a chance to talk to Mr. Dunlop, explain it to her. She said, you did exactly what we should have done. Thank you very much. So I want to pass on that compliment from the minister. Say because I know we had a lot of conversation about what should be done, what could be done and all of that stuff, but it sounds like we nailed it. So, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Ackland.
I'd just like to say thanks to our little ferry staff members that put in the extra couple days of their time, and they could have been off doing whatever they wanted to do on the weekend to remove the ice to make it better. Somebody's looked after us now, it's all gone. I said, and on a second thing, sorry, Jess, for a fine little glitch on your way out.
Oh, no worries. That's
You're the best, buddy, and we're gonna miss you. We're gonna miss
Appreciate
you.
it.
Hope we can call you
Absolutely. Yeah.
Every day.
every day.
Open line. I'll be support.
Put it in the back.
Okay, I reiterate that it is unfortunate that we're losing a valuable treasure, and maybe someday he'll discover that they left a skunk in a garbage bag up there on Loyalist, I hear one time. We don't do that. You may have to deal with skunks, but feel free if you find it's better fit back here. Make your decision up quick. Anyways, I'd like to encourage everybody to consider becoming candidates in the upcoming election. And I can mention in the announcements section that, or I can mention it now as well, that on March the 11th here at 5:30, there's going to be an information session for anybody that wants to consider running for council. And I think it'd be well worth everybody's opportunity to get signed up for that. They'll be doing it again over on Howe Island, unless you've done it already on Howe.
No, March 23rd on that.
March 23rd on Howe and that, so. It's been moving along in that for the 4 years have just flown by. And we're into the last 6 months home stretch now, so I do encourage anybody that wants to get more information and speak to the counselors or myself and that if you want to have the inside scoop or anything else. But it's time to get your preparation and discussions with your families going in that, if that's what you'd like to do. Okay, now we'll have notice of motion. Oh, Councillor Jaboni.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. One fast question. We know when to sign up, when is the last day to sign up to be, to try to run for council? Must be an end date.
Oh, through you, Madam Mayor, it opens May 1st and closes August 21st at 2 p.m.
Okay.
Don't spend any money before that,
That's right,
before years.
before you actually file the campaign.
Yeah.
Or file your nomination.
Okay, so now we're at notice of motions. Any notice of motions? Seeing none.
The only thing I,
Oh, yes,
can we continue on having the 3J pushed every month?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, I'm working diligently with them to try and get that back. I'm still waiting on MTOs.
So regardless if I need another motion to keep sending more letters, it's gonna continue and it's gonna come anyway. Like if you got a memo, it would be on next month's.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, we're tired. Let's see.
unless you want to change your notice of motion to something more of a legal letter going out to them.
I'm all right. I'll do the legal work. I'll knock on their door.
There you go. Okay, so now to announcements. Councillor Jablonski.
No motion, no announcements.
Okay, Councillor Halton.
No, nothing, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Saunders.
Thank you.
Councillor Ackley.
I'd like to announce someone might be coming.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm gonna announce that the firemen are having a fundraiser on Saturday here. 6 o'clock. You don't even have to buy a ticket. Donations are accepted, but they also have wonderful silent auction. And it'll be at the hotel. So feel free, everybody come. When will the silent auction get called? At 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock?
Yeah, we usually don't leave it too late, probably around 10.
Okay. Share the wealth too, type of thing?
Sure.
Whatever you got. Raise as much as you can. Also, over on Howe Island, on March the 10th, Survivor Howe Island at your recreation committee and that board games and cornhole. I don't know what a cornhole is other than you toss a beanbag in. Okay. Sounded interesting and that's 7 to 9 at the parish hall.
Yeah.
And as I said, on March the 11th at 5:30 here at this building. And that, if you'd like to run for being a candidate. And on Howe Island, it is March
23rd.
23rd.
At the Howe Island office.
At the Howe Island office at
Beginning at 5:30.
5:30. Okay. And on March the 11th, we have the recreation Pilates thing at Howe Island, 7 to 8 yoga at the parish hall, and then a social hour, 8 to 9. And that's about as many, the euchres continue on Wolf Island and that, and we can all thank somebody like Sherry or that got those started for us, and I hope we continue on with those every winter. Usually, she had stretched it out into April. I haven't heard from the group yet how long it's gonna go. But, we've lost, one of the great organizers to the community, and that is regretful. Okay, so now we'll get to the bylaws. And are William and the clerk here for a second?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by Councillor Ackley, seconded by Councillor Jablonski, that 3 readings and final passage be granted to bylaws number 008, which is the amendments to the personnel policy. Bear with me, Madam Mayor, I have further to that. Bylaw number 010, which is the election sign bylaw. Bylaw number 11, which is the use of vote tabulators. Bylaw number 013, the amendment to the fees for building permits. Bylaw number 14 is to appoint an interim treasurer. Bylaw number 15 is the zoning bylaw amendment for 1190 Burn Point Road, which was the public meeting that we held this morning. Bylaw number 16, which is the use of municipal resource policy. And bylaw number 17, which is the confirmatory bylaw. And that HR 33 pay equity salary administration be addressed separately.
Okay. Any discussion on these? Councillor Jablonski,
No discussion.
Open,
No.
Anders, Ackley,
Just to pay equity with that, that'll be a separate one?
separate and apart. Correct?
Cause it's
So
separate.
I've got, and that HR 33 pay equity salary administration be addressed separately, so we'll take
at
it,
this point.
yeah.
It's removed. Okay, all those in favor? Gary.
Just bear with me a moment.
I will bear with you, no worries. Take your time.
Madam Mayor, did you want to move the motion addressing the pay equity? Or did you want me to see if another member of council wanted to?
I'll second it to the deputy mayor on that, and I will move it. I'm looking for a seconder to move.
So, Madam Mayor, for clarification, thank you for this. Can you just restate what, so everybody knows what they're,
That this will be a recorded vote on the pay equity, and that we've already had the discussion of it.
So just on that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need the motion on the floor, we need a seconder. We need a seconder,
Oh, for pay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pay us,
yeah.
so seconded by Councillor Ackley. So Madam Mayor, it's your motion, if you want
Yeah.
to talk to it.
Okay. This particular policy of pay equity and that seems to go beyond what is the intent of pay equity, which is to ensure a fairness of comparison of jobs and skills and scope that allows for a fair, equitable pay rate for women. It is not meant to be new bands of pay for other employees and that, and when I read through this and that, it was quite clear to me in that it goes beyond what is pay equity. And so to me, it needs to be retitled in that and identified. And when it first came before us, I had raised the point that the previous CAO had done the pay bands in the past and that, so I really didn't think that it was necessary. And that, but the more I looked at it, I am of the opinion that it goes beyond what is pay equity. It has become more of a salary grid perspective in that. So with that, I'd like to have a recorded vote because I'm not comfortable with it.
Through you, Madam Mayor, if it's fine.
Aye.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, so, oh, yes, there's 3. Just a quick clarification, so I'm just gonna speak to it too much. So again, this policy, like as part of the pay equity in the budget, we approved the salary grid, so that's all in place. Again, I think maybe the wording we think maybe isn't as precise as it should be, but again, this policy just kind of dictates when someone's hired, like how do they get placed on the band and all that stuff, so. Just want to clarify, like, this policy has nothing to do about stating pay bands and grids, like those are already established through the budget and the presentations, it's just more how do we administer it when we hire like a new employee? Or what do we do if we, let's say, for example, the township needs a deputy treasurer at some point, this kind of gives guidance on how that job will be evaluated and placed on like our existing grids, so just wanted to provide that context if that's.
So thank you for the clarification. Comments, questions? Councillor, Hoffman.
Okay, so I think we're confusing what pay equity. Pay equity is equal pay for equal work. That is not, that's an aside is what the Pay Equity Act is. That says for women and people of color and.
Only women.
You know, but that's separate. When we hired this company, they were hired, and this is right from when they were hired, to complete compensation review to ensure the township is internally equitable, pay equity compliant, and competitive in the market. So we took, which I think was great, when we were mandated to do one thing, we just expanded it and did more. As far as HR 33, that's just making us compliant. There's not an issue here. I think it's good that we went ahead and went beyond what we needed to do. So yeah, I don't see any issue with this. We need to get this passed, cleared up, done with.
Well, thank you. Councillor, you seconded, do you have a comment?
Well, I just saw a couple of comments in here where, section 2.18. When an employee moves into a position at a higher pay band, the employee will move into a new pay grid at the next step that provides a minimum of 5%. But if somebody makes $100,000, 5% is $5,000, right? That's a lot of bucks.
So Councillor, if I can, I believe, Councillor, Holton has explained that, which is, that's not part of.
Recommendation.
Right, that was part of the pay equity plan, and, that's already been agreed to. And I would look at the CEO to confirm with us, please.
Thank you. Through you, Deputy Mayor. Yes, that is correct. So, in our discussions with Pastor Associates, when we hired them to do the pay compensation study, just as Councillor Halton indicated, it was not only to do the pay equity study, but to do comparisons for equal pay within, you know, if you're seeing people doing the same kind of types of jobs type thing. So, yes, you are correct.
So,
I'll do just one last clarification. So part of this is just administration of the pay bands, where there is pay equity as part of this policy is if there is a new job, this policy states it must be evaluated. And appropriately placed on the grid. Like I said, like the deputy treasurer, we'd still have to go through the pay equity legislation. So while the mayor is correct, the majority of this policy is saying, hey, we got this grid, it's pay equity compliant, the one that we have. What happens if someone moves up? What happens when we hire someone? There is still job evaluation, which would be tied to legislation because again, we don't have a deputy treasurer. We would need to add that to the grid if one was required. But that's my last piece of it.
thank you very much. Any other comments from councillors?
I think the only last one I had was section 2.1G was just being maintained with the financial means of the township. Like for us to afford somebody at 150,000 or something, like we're gonna bring a new Jesse in, probably not as good as him, and we're gonna pay him more money to start. We're suggesting, I think there's a memo out there, isn't there, a starting wage of.
So through you, Madam Mayor, so that is legislated now, as of January 1st this year, we have to show what the wage range is. And no, that is the existing band that our existing treasurer is on.
Yeah, but they're gonna start at the caliber he's finishing at, right?
No, so through you, Madam Mayor, that 5%, let's say someone's on the grid at like a band C and
Yeah.
they go up to like a band D or whatever the band's going up. It's just saying when you move to the next pay band, they get a minimum of 5%. So if they were that it has nothing when you're hiring from an employee, it's up to management, the CEO, HR to negotiate a salary on the grid. But there's no guarantee for an external employee to get any type of pay.
I'll just call a question here, so.
Yeah.
But I think we're confusing two issues. So Madam Mayor, can you again state your motion? Because I think we're confusing the pay equity numbers.
No, I've already, it's not necessarily a motion. What I'm saying is I want a recorded vote on this because this is mistitled at the very minimum as a pay equity policy. It is not a pay equity policy. It is broader than that. And to me, if you're gonna have a pay equity policy, the appendix A actually was clear.
So
This is
thank
something
you.
else.
Thank you for that clarification. I thought you were putting motion forward. It sounds like your request is a vote, therefore we'll call the vote.
Counselor Ackley,
In favor.
Counselor Halton,
In favor.
Counselor Jablonski,
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Saunders,
In favor.
Mayor Greenwood Spears,
Opposed.
motion is carried.
Madam Mayor, I'll turn the chair back to me.
All right. I think we're at adjournment now. Anything else that I've missed?
Did we pull out the other? Or maybe-
No, she didn't get a second on that portion. You are correct, Madam Mayor. Moved by Counselor Halton, second by Counselor Ackley, the regular meeting of council held March 9th, 2026, adjourned.
At 12:35. All those in favor? Carried.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.